Wake up, wake up. We are closing in on the NFL draft. It is Monday, April the 13th. Get out of the rack and let's talk some ball. He's Damon. I'm Larry. You're you. Let's go.
Oh, welcome to Wake Up Indeed. Like, subscribe, notify, all those YouTube algorithmy things. Thank you so much for helping us do that. And we are here to help you get ready for the NFL draft. Larry, it is our final day of double-digit days away. Today is day number 10. We are getting closer and closer. Next Thursday, it's officially on. So it's good to be with you, brother. This is one of our favorite times of the year.
Oh, man, we're closing in. It's the Super Bowl of the offseason, a very important draft for the Niners. And insider Jordan Schultz, Damon, reported this weekend that the upcoming draft is expected to be one of the more trade-heavy drafts in recent years. The quote was, "The expectation among NFL teams is that the 2026 draft will be one of the more trade-heavy drafts in recent memory, according to multiple league sources, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Edge, cornerback, linebacker are all strong and deep, while wide receiver typically considered to be the most talented offensive position. Several executives I've spoken with believe we're likely to see a flurry of activity in the first half of round one. Additionally, because this specific draft lacks depth in the later rounds, many teams plan to pursue extra day 2 and early day 3 picks per league sources." And I think probably the most interesting aspect of that appeals to the Niners, or could appeal to the Niners, is they have 4 picks in the 4th round and no picks in rounds 5, 6, or 7. And I guess the question is this: does John Lynch parlay his multiple fourths for that one great player that he still sees on the board in the 3rd? Or do the Niners look at the teams looking to say, hey, we'll give you 5 picks in the next 3 rounds, but we want to be in the 4th round and move back for volume? It will be interesting. They only have 6 picks.
You got teams with multiple first-round picks. Like you said, how the 49ers go about their 4th-round foursome is going to be fascinating, right? I mean, they are either using that point in time to just take 4 players off the board in near consecutive order, for goodness sakes. I mean, when you look at the way it all flushes out, we're talking about 127, 133, 138, 139. So you got a handful of choices in just a small number of picks right there. So the Niners could really get aggressive with just taking who they want, or they could do some packaging. I don't think moving up is necessarily the route I see them going. I don't think you do either, Larry. I don't think them moving up, but them moving back and being a team at 27 that is in play for a team who wants to come up. I think that's totally in play for this upcoming draft. And then we'll see the other big players on the board with their multiple first-round picks. I do see this being a trade-heavy first round, a lot of picks getting swapped around. I think it's very realistic.
Well, we're also hearing lots of talk about the Myles Garretts of the world, and there could be some trades. A.J. Brown, Diana Rossini. I mean, there could be lots of trades. So
Diana's value has really dropped in just this past week. It's late evaluations on her have people asking questions, Larry.
Well, yeah. The question they'll be asking 10 days from now is, why is she hosting Sports Overnight America on Sports Byline USA Radio Network?
Hey, it's good work if you can find it. Look at it this
way. Right now is like, hey, man, get out of my gig. Get off my gig, man.
Seriously. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Hit like and subscribe. Speaking of important picks, we're going to tell you about Prize Picks. We're both sponsored by Prize Picks now on our channel, so we thank them for being aboard. And, of course, Larry, let me tell you, as you get ready for all the picks and selections that are out there in the upcoming NFL draft, look at all the choices that you get whenever you walk into an Ike's. Tons of choices to be found. One of the best sandwiches in the world. And if you didn't think that sandwich was the best sandwich in the world, just order another one. That will eventually hit the bullseye of whatever you think is the best sandwich in the world. There are so many options. Get yourself to Ike's. Thank you so very, very much.
Yeah, and of course, check out Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig and a Pickle. They are fantastic. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera, and they're soon to open in Petaluma. And they're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And I say that every time people say, do they really run out? Yeah, they do run out. It's real barbecue, and They make enough for what they think is enough for the day, and they may run out at 5 o'clock. So get there early, get some brisket, get the brisket chili. The brisket chili is absolutely amazing. But everything there is fantastic. And go say hi to Damon and Mary. They're big supporters of the Krug Show. Also, as Damon said, Krug Show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is super simple. You just pick more or less on player stats or game outcomes. Build your lineup. It's available in most states, including this one, California. So if you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA. And when you play $5, you're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. So thank you to Prize Picks for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. We also have Alomar Marina and Novato Chevrolet, and we'll talk more about them in a bit, as well as Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. And by the way, if you want to support the show, support the sponsors. That's a great way to do it. Damon,
Larry, our quest today is perfection, right? Perfection. And let us explain what we mean. There's what we think should happen.
Right.
Then there is the bias that we might bring to our own evaluations and channels. Let's try to shake ourselves of that and talk about players who we think on day one from any draft position, from any round, would just be instant contributors on a team that could use a few, that certainly doesn't lean into its youth as quickly as other teams may. And whether that's on Shanahan, the development, the lack of liking the player the minute after they draft them, who knows? We're talking about fits, though. Who would fit the systems that we're going to see? And what's interesting about this is we're going to have a whole new defensive coordinator in here this year. So there's a lot of varying systems that I think are going to be a little bit different. I don't think it's going to be a straight wide nine only football team. I think there's going to be an awful lot of, dynamic schemes that we see in this new 49ers defense. And the defensive line, obviously, I think is still very much a work in progress. I would like to see a decision on Joey Bosa made this week, one way or the other. I mean, are you going into are you going to have that guy on your team? Yes or no? Because I think if it's a yes, it changes what you're looking at with the first and second round picks here for the 49ers.
He may be a post-draft decision. It may be like, hey, we're going to try to go for an edge, and if we don't get one, maybe Joey's fits our budget, or maybe as we get closer to camp, Joey's price tag comes down. Or maybe it goes up. I mean, you just never know. He did lead the league in forced fumbles. But I think the first discussion before we get into what's real, like what's like an ideal, realistic target for all of their needs, we should talk about their needs for a sec. Because, I mean, I said it to you right at the start of the offseason. Damon, I think they have a dozen needs, right? And we went through it, and there was a lot of them. But since that point, you look at some of the things that have happened. It sounds like Mac Jones is not going to go anywhere. And if he's not going anywhere, quarterback is absolutely not a need. They have 4. They have your guy Rourke coming off of a redshirt year, who they really like, according to the reports. They have Adrian Martinez, who they like. They brought him back after he went to the Jets for a few weeks. Obviously, they like Mac, and obviously they like Brock. They paid him a ton of money. So quarterback, not a need. Not a need. The Niners signed Jack Jones, a full-time starter the past 2 seasons, on Friday, Damon.
Yeah.
And this was after you and I did our show, correct?
It is. It
is. So let me give you the breakdown. He started 33 of 34 games the last 2 years. Started all 17 games for the Dolphins last year. He was a 4th-round pick in 22. He had a pick, 2 fumbles forced, 6 pass breakups. He started 16 of 17 games for the Raiders the season prior. He's 28. He's got 8 career interceptions. 4 of the 8 he's taken back to the house. That right there is pretty freaking amazing. 33 pass breakups in 59 games across 4 NFL seasons. What do you think?
He's one of those just professional corners. I don't think he is the guy who changes the way your defense plays. I've seen an awful lot of numbers that he has put on a side of the field that gets less attention. Therefore, some of his numbers are a little less than, you can bank on him producing like this at all times. I will tell you without even apologizing that I have not ball hawked the Miami Dolphins secondary last year, so I can't really remember a single on-field moment that he had. Everything that I've looked about him, I've read about or watched on YouTube. And he does give up a disturbing amount of, like, geez, there's a lot of touchdowns for a guy who's giving up so few catches. So what's going on there? Is he susceptible to the deep route? And he might be, but he's a good player. I mean, he's an experienced corner with thousands of real live snaps on his body. He played, I think, 92% of every defensive snap for the Miami Dolphins last year. He's a guy that evens out a room. I mean, we're looking at this as either, a depth piece, or this is Renardo Green's replacement here in the starting lineup. Your cornerback room right now is Diamador Lenore, Renardo Green, Upton Stout, Jack Jones, Darrell Luter Jr., Eli Apple, Saran Neal, Trey Tomlinson, Nate Hobbs, who they also signed just a week or two ago, and Jacob Robinson. That's already too many corners to even carry. So just in terms of need, Larry, I don't think they need a corner.
I know, man. Your guy Pons is like my favorite guy in the draft, but I got to say, I don't think the Niners should go in that direction any longer, even though I'm a big fan of the corners that could be camped out right around 27. Chris Johnson, San Diego State, Keontae Scott, Miami, and your guy Pons are all going to be on the board there, most likely. And I was like, man, that's where the value is. But, Damon, you need 5 good corners, and you need to go to camp with 7 or 8, okay? And right now they've got, unless they're going to trade him, unless they're going to trade Renardo Green, Upton Stout, Demo Lenore, that's pretty good threesome. Luter has never been able to do it, but you still have him. He's long, rangy, athletic. Now you have Jack Jones, who I love Jack Jones's confidence. And some guys you get and they like never play games. They're always hurt. They don't play. This guy just plays. I mean, he may start. He literally may start opposite Demo Lenore instead of Renardo
Green's replacement week 1.
Right. So you got Luter, Jack Jones, and Nate Hobbs as your second trio of corners. And then behind that, you've got Saran Neal, who's a special teams ace, is absolutely going to make the team. He's very respected. He's one of the best special teamers in the league. You got Jacob Robinson, and I'm telling you, man, this guy is a player. He wore 49 in camp last year. They somehow got him through waivers, through the IR, all the different, lists throughout the year. He didn't get plucked. He's a good-sized corner with 4.36 speed and a ton of confidence, and now he's got a year to learn, how and to grow and to get stronger, faster, better. So the other guys I don't think are really players. I mean, Tomlinson, Eli Apple. But you know what? Green, Lenore, Stout, Luter, Jones, Hobbs, and Jacob Robinson and Saran Neal, you have 8. That's 8 corners. They do not need a corner. They cannot go corner and with any high pick at all. So I would take quarterback, not a need. Corner, not a need. You could argue that backup offensive lineman with the addition of Verdarian Lowe, Brett Toth, and Robert Jones, maybe their need for a backup offensive lineman is probably not there. Do they need a tight end?
I don't want to step on this conversation with the conversation we're about to have later, but they need some consensus here on Trent Williams. They need to know whether or not. We'll getting to that because there is some news. Offensive linemen. This is a question that needs to be answered before we can almost have this discussion.
But I mean, I'm just talking about the backup O line. So they got 2 or 3 backup O linemen, right? So let's say they like their depth on the O line, because like we were talking at the end of the year, they need 2 or 3 O linemen. They need 2 or 3 D. Well, it was all true, except now they've gotten Verdarian Lowe, Brett Toth, and Robert Jones. So their backup linemen are kind of taken care of. So they've gone from they need linemen to they could really use a future left tackle and they need a starting left guard. But as far as tight end, I would say it is a need. Some people don't think it is. Linebacker, I would say it is a need. Some people don't think it is. But the other needs are left guard, edge, safety, possibly running back, if you can believe it, tight end, and as we said, future offensive tackle. And I'll throw one more need in there that I don't think people have on their list. In 2025, Damon, the Niners used Jordan Elliott and Kevin Givens. Those guys combined to play 579 defensive snaps, or 53.4% of the defensive snaps. And they're both gone. So, yes, you have Collins and you brought in Odigizua and you have CJ West and there's Evan Anderson and Sebastian Valdez. But I still think one more defensive tackle, especially one that can play, is going to be important.
Yeah. What they need is for CJ West's offseason to have been spectacular. What they need is for Alfred Collins' offseason to have been spectacular. And these two guys turn into, second-year players that are now instantly grouped into the trusted veteran conversation. That's what they really need. I've done this show about Spencer Burford. The most important offensive lineman they could use this year is Spencer Burford having a hell of an offseason, and unfortunately, that never really happened. This is big for them because if they didn't need another defensive tackle in this draft, Larry, and I do think defensive tackle is a position that you can maybe go and do better with in the undrafted free agent land than a lot of other positions, because we're just talking big and nasty. And there's a lot of big and nasty out there that doesn't get drafted. I wonder if defensive tackle is still a need. I hear what you're saying about, Davis and the absence of snaps from last year, but I look at defensive line and I only see you need defensive ends. You need guys who are going to bend the edge, period. More than you need more beef in the middle.
I hear you, but let's look at the numbers. Look at the numbers here. They have McKell and Bosa and Samo and Keon White, and they just signed Cam Sample. And they have another undrafted or a late round guy from last year they kind of like, and Bradley King. So I kind of think they're in the same spot at both spots. I really do. I think they've got guys. They've got the position, quote unquote, filled, but they need upgrades. I think the edge upgrade is they need a real edge burner. Like, look at that group. Bosa's gonna had 3 ACLs. McKell was never an edge burner. Sam O's greatest strength is that he can flex inside. Same with Keon White. Same Cam Sample is known for his versatility. They need that guy who is an edge rusher and only an edge rusher, who's just he's Von Miller or he's Cassius. They need that difference maker.
Well, you said he's Cassius Howell. You just tipped your pick, Larry.
It didn't have to be Cassius Howell, but I'm just saying they need somebody who's not going to flex inside, right, who's not a combo player, who's not right, a trial and error kind of no. You need a proven agent here.
Right.
Somebody who can.
You don't need a versatile player. You need someone who's going to get you 9 sacks next year.
You need a big time guy. Okay, so why don't we get right into it? And I'll go first on the wide receiver. The Niners need a wide receiver, but do they really need a wide receiver? Well, it's hard to say, right? Because they are interviewing a lot of guys in the first round: Denzel Boston, KC Concepcion, Omar Cooper Jr., and others. Chris Brazzell got a 30 visit from Tennessee, the big, tall, skinny Tennessee wide receiver. So there's a lot of receivers that they potentially could have interest in. To me, there's really 3 that I could think of, but the one I'm going to go with here is Reggie Virgil from Texas Tech, who is, the 19th best wide receiver on Draft Tech, projected to go right there in the 4th or 5th round. He's a 6'3", 190-pound wide receiver from Texas Tech, and he played opposite Caleb Douglas. And
your argument here is that he would be the perfect fit,
and I'm going to tell you
perfect value in the 4th.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I think he's a fit for the Niners. He has spent this entire offseason working out in Houston with Mike Evans. And Mike Evans is, I think would be a great tutor for this kid. I don't think when you look at the depth chart for the Niners and their other needs that they can go wide receiver in the first round. And I'm not even 100% convinced they can go wide receiver in the second round. But they did work out Caleb Douglas from Texas Tech, who is 6'4" and ran in the 4.3s. And as I said, Reggie Virgil, his teammate, has been working out with Mike Evans this entire offseason in Houston. And I just think that, let's keep that thing going. Niners need a receiver or two, but not necessarily with a high pick. And Reggie Virgil, Caleb Douglas are day 3 receivers. If I wanted to throw Dylan Bell in there, I think he's a post-draft, undrafted free agent type receiver who fits them as well. But Reggie Virgil, because of the relationship that he's got with Mike Evans, and Evans is going to be the leader in that room, and this kid already has been a very impressive receiver. He was only a 3-star guy coming out of high school, but he's just he's a former basketball player. And he's a smart kid. He's a confident kid, and I think he's going to be really, really good.
I wouldn't mind him, Larry, as a 4. I wouldn't mind him in that group of the compensatory 4, shall we call it? Those 4 picks there in that 4th round. I think he would be a fit there. And to me, when you talk about like what player would be perfect, so I obviously have some bias here. I'm glad to see that it's not just my bias. It's also Matt Barrows who sees the same thing. When it comes to Omar Cooper Jr., I don't think there is a player who is ready to fit what Shanahan does with his wide receivers coming out of this draft more than Omar Cooper Jr. Now, I don't think he's getting drafted, but if you're talking about what's the perfect fit, no, I mean, I don't think he's getting drafted by the Niners. He's not getting drafted by the Niners because a pick in the 1st or the 2nd round of a wide receiver is an indictment on the room as it exists. They didn't sign Mike Evans to not play. They didn't sign Kirk to not play.
The one thing about your guy, though, is your guy absolutely is he's another culture player.
Yes.
So there aren't a lot of wide receiver culture players because a lot of them are divas, and they really think
you want to talk perfect fit.
This guy's not a diva. This guy's a culture player. This guy's
to be a perfect fit in Shanahan's offense, you got to be a downfield blocker as much as you are a downfield deep threat. It's just it's as important to the position as your freaking hands or your ability to separate in Kyle's offense, and he checks all those boxes. But I just don't think, based on what they have, and DeMarcus Robinson is still in the room, and Jordan Watkins is still supposed to do something, and Jacob Cowing is here for a reason that doesn't make sense football-wise, but he's still here for a reason. So that must be to play some snaps at some point in his career. Do they have a need? They need a wide receiver that they can play and trust, but I don't think they've got that 1st or 2nd round need. And if you are seeing a wide receiver off the board in the 1st or 2nd round, I think that is an indictment on their belief in Ricky Pearsall being the guy to go forward with.
I'll go further than that. I think if you see a 1st or 2nd round receiver, I think it tells you that Ricky's getting dealt because there's just no way. There's no way. I mean, you can't invest another high pick in a wide receiver if you're going to have Ricky and Evans and Cowing and Watkins. Now, some people look at Cowing and Watkins and go, Krug, you always count them. They're not going to make the team. And I'm like, no, I don't. I disagree with you. I think that the people that I've talked
to not, but Watkins is on this team.
Watkins for sure is making the team. I mean, for sure. But I mean, the people that I've talked to down there around the coaching staff, you would swear that they like Cowing more than almost anybody in the room. I mean, they really like Cowing. Now, anybody who follows me knows 2 years ago in the draft when Cowing was coming out that I was sitting here endorsing that pick, saying good pick. And I still think he's a good player. This guy can play. It's about durability, toughness, and availability. His durability hasn't been such. He hasn't been able to get on the field. It makes us 2 years in question his toughness. And it's now or never for Jacob Cowing. But his college career did show a guy who didn't just have speed, who had speed, route running ability, ball skills, and made plays at 2 different programs over the course of a 4-year period. So I really like him still. So we'll see. But so that's interesting. So you have Omar Cooper. I'm saying either Reggie Virgil or Caleb Douglas, but I'm going to go with Reggie Virgil on the Mike Evans.
Here's the thing, though, but I'm not saying, but I'm just saying he would be the perfect fit. I don't think they're picking him. I don't think he's getting drafted to the Niners.
Okay, but we're just going perfect fits. So
Right.
and some of these guys, first of all, some of these guys can't. All these guys can't make it to the Niners most likely. All right, let's go to offensive tackle, because this is a spot where you have Trent Williams, and why don't we talk a little bit right here before we get into this spot on what is going on here with Trent Williams. The latest on Trent Williams is out right now, and that is from Coach Yak's Twitter, and it's a report according to Jason La Canfora, who I'm not bashing Jason La Canfora, but I just wouldn't take everything he says to the bank. Let's just say that. But he says the report is 49ers have reportedly sent over a revised contract to Trent Williams in the past few days, and there's a chance the situation gets resolved early this week. Now, I do find this funny because I love Coach Yak, and he's a good guy and everything, but he took this report, and the report is actually embedded in the picture here, okay? And then he summarized it up here, but the summary up here doesn't equal the report down here, okay? So once again, I'll read them both to you. The first one, the 49ers are reportedly sent over a revised contract to Trent Williams the past few days, and there's a chance the situation gets resolved early this week. Okay, if you read that, you're like, hey, Trent's back. Well, all right, babe.
I don't know if I read that as Trent's back as much as I just read we're going to get conclusion. And that is what the situation needs now. You either need to be all in or all out of Trent, and you need to deal him accordingly or start a future Hall of Fame left tackle in week 1, which is, I think, the right thing to do and would greatly affect and change what I am doing with the first pick in the draft. My ability to look at that 27 and think, can I come back now? Can I draft back?
My point is just that it comes across like, hey, it's all a positive story. But then when you read the bottom part, here's the bottom part.
Okay.
As we hear it, the 49ers made another push to try to get closure in this situation and sent over a revised contract to Trent Williams within the last few days. League sources indicated there's a chance this gets resolved early this week. A chance, okay? Depending on how comfortable the player is with the latest proposal. And here's the key line. And should the sides not make headway over the coming days, there is potential for this to get sideways.
So
49ers, and then the last part, it says the 49ers are willing to pay Williams basically $36 million guaranteed over the next 2 years, with about $24 million to be paid to him this year. So maybe $24 million this year and the balance, the 12 next year. Is that how that's going to go, or is next year going to be? I don't know.
Obviously, look, the 49ers see him as a 38-year-old they need to have a plan B for. He sees himself as the premier starting tackle in the league. According to Ralph Barbieri, 2 things can be equally true, and both of them are. There is a true value that he possesses. There is a certain lack of value that anyone at his age also possesses. And everyone needs to come to terms with what they think is most important here. And the 49ers, I think, owe it to themselves to put the take it or leave it deal on the table. I know they don't like to go that hardball, especially with a player like this. But to me, if they go into this draft, don't address tackle in a very forward-facing way here, Larry, and then they turn around after the draft and sort of want to renegotiate with Trent Williams, well, you can forget about anything other than the highest possible price point, because now Trent's totally got you over a barrel. Totally. I mean, you cannot have, we didn't address tackle here in the draft, but we're still negotiating with Trent Williams. You're blank checking Trent Williams if you don't address tackle in this draft.
You're saying do what they did with Ricky or with Ayuk. Go draft Ricky and then kind of undercut Ayuk's negotiation. Grant Cohn has suggested that that's the plan as well, that they're going to draft a tackle to undercut the negotiating power of Trent Williams. I don't think it's quite in that situation. I don't think it's quite as contentious as that, but I think the point should be taken. I think you're right. I think he's right. If you have it's no different than any other job. If there's somebody sitting right there who can do this job, then you don't have job security, right? If there's nobody there sitting and doing your job, then you might have job security forever. So that, that's a big
Here's
part of it.
something that no one's even thought of or talked about in this whole tackle conversation. Imagine a world where you're moving on from Trent Williams, and in week 3, Colton McKivitz goes down for a significant portion. So now it's not Trent Williams. Now it's not Colton McKivitz.
Season over.
Now you're in a whole bunch of trouble right off the rip. You weren't even thinking about Colton McKivitz here. You were so busy thinking about Trent. I think they need to bring him back. I think they need to bring him back and look tackle still in the first round, whether you can get that player on the field or not. They have so painted themselves into the Trent Williams corner that if they don't start unpainting themselves from that corner, I just think it's bad for business. We talk about team construction and the right ways and wrong ways to do this. I think they've hit the wrong way here with Trent. Luckily for them, even in the wrong way, they still have a hell of a player. So, you're either giving up future money to invest in your team, or you're going to be giving up snaps this year to further invest in this offensive line down the road. And either way, you got to kind of bite the bullet. To me, I would bite the bullet of it's just money more than I would bite the bullet of, and we got a rookie starting at left tackle. That to me, there's too many variables there. Trent is a lot of things. He's not a variable other than you get very, very good production whenever he's out there.
No doubt. So and yet the 49ers also, there's only so many guys on a roster. There's only so many people you can have.
Hey, man, I'd be playing take it or leave it if I'm the Niners this week with Trent Williams. Be like, look, man, we've done this a couple years in a row. We've been friendly about it. We've gone to coffee. We've gone to whiskey over this. We've had tea. We've done it. There's no amount of running hot or cold on this. Trent, you fucking in or you out. Here's the money. This is what we're offering. What do you got? You in or you out?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't think they will play that kind of hardball, but I wouldn't mind it. All right, so let's go to the next position. Let's go with the future left tackle. Now, I don't know if you want to go first or second on this one.
Well, so this is my, let me tell you about Monroe Freeling and how much I like him. But he's gone. He's off the board at 27, and they're not moving up from Monroe Freeling.
And I mean, I'm cool talking about any prospect, including Monroe Freeling. But I think in fairness at this point, since we're inside of whatever the window of the draft coming up, we should probably try to either go with players that either are going to be there for them, or it's realistic. I think the talk about Monroe Freeling sounds like he may go 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th.
He is arguably the first tackle off the board.
Yeah.
So there you go. The first tackle off the board is not going to be 27.
No, it's not going to be him. I don't think it'd be the first tackle off the board. I think that Fano kid is going to be the first tackle off the board. Or Maui Noah. Maui Noah is going to be the first tackle off the board. But some people think Maui Noah is a guard. So I thought that's what you meant. But then then it's going to be between Freeling and Fano, and I'll go with Fano. But yeah, that's a beauty in the eye of the beholder. Those guys are going to go very close to each other, I would guess.
Caleb Lomu, I think, is very realistic, would fit very, very well, and has a chance of being there at 27 with no trading up, down anywhere. I think he's there at 27. Caleb Lomu is a guy who didn't allow a single sack last year. He played on a very good offensive line. Utah doesn't have a lot of sexiness to it, but that's a good culture football team. It really is. I think that he is a very, very good fit. And if, my God, he were to be there at 58, that's the easiest draft pick the 49ers could possibly make.
It's funny. I saw Matt Mayoka with Field Yates, and he was discussing, Caleb Lomu versus Max Ionacher. And it's Ionacher. That's how it's pronounced.
And Ionacher? Is it so?
Ionacher.
Ionacher and Ionacher. Okay, good to know.
Ionacher.
Good to know.
Yeah, you can. It's in the draft guide. It's in the
more of a man with more of a project in Max, and you get less of a project and less of a mountain of a man in Caleb Lomu.
I just think that I know Lomu's the safer pick. But if you're going to take an offensive lineman in the first round, I think, there's no year that anybody this talented. There's no year that this kind of talent would fall to 27. And I don't love the idea of the Ionacher pick if Trent's coming back, because I don't know that he can play left guard. And I really don't want to see the Niners get a 0 overall out of their first round pick in 2026 because they took a guard, it took a tackle, and they have their starting tackles, and he's just learning. I don't want a learning year where he doesn't play. And I don't know if he can play left guard. And it's like people say, oh, if you can play tackle, you play guard. No. And not only that, everything happens so much easier, so much faster inside, that if you're really raw, you're going to struggle inside because you have no time. Everything's right now, and it's all about technique and hand placement, and everything's got to be choreographed and perfect. So I've got a lot of concerns about him, but I can't. If it comes down to Lomu or Ionacher, I'm going to go with Ionacher. I'm just taking a shot. His film's too damn good. He looks too damn good. There's nobody in the league that looks quite as good as this guy at this age with this kind of experience. If Chris Foerster is worth his weight as a coach, that everybody says he's the greatest, then you should. There's no doubt you should take Max Ionacher, Ionacher or whatever. There's no doubt, because if you have a great prospect and then you have a great coach, you got to do that. I don't think you take a lower level player who's wasn't even the best player on his offensive line. But that's not who I'm going with. I'm not going with left tackle. I think the 49ers ought to go with Austin Barber in maybe the 4th round out of Florida. Now, this guy did have a bunch of penalties, okay? And that part of it, penalties are obviously not good. But man, there's a lot to like here. This guy is tough as hell. I'm going to show you some film of him. Here he is, 6'7", 350
draft crushes has been Jake Slaughter from Florida. So I've watched this guy quite a bit already.
So Barber's the left tackle. Slaughter's the center. Okay, so there's Slaughter, 66. Here's Barber, 58. But what I love about Barber is just, the nastiness. Watch this guy, just the nastiness and the ability to finish. He just wants to finish people on the ground. He'll throw them away. We're getting some close-ups here, but as this thing goes on, you'll see a bit more. Really like Barber. Really think that and here's the other thing why I think he's a perfect fit for the Niners. I think the Niners need to get an offensive tackle out of this draft, potentially. But they also that guy may not play. So I don't know if I can take an offensive tackle. I can't take a 1st or 2nd round pick that isn't going to play. But this guy in the 4th round, I think might be able to play right away. And also he played in the SEC against great competition. Really, really like Austin Barber. I think this is one of the best players. Now, what do I love the most about him? He has spent this entire offseason working on his game with Joe Staley. And who's Joe Staley good buddies with? He's part of the Cabo clique, as they say. Shanahan listens to Joe Staley. And the fact that Joe Staley has been working with this kid, I think is a great thing. This kid is really talented. The grip strength, 99.0 run blocking grade this year. Former high school basketball player. The guy's experienced, Damon. He's played over 2,700 snaps played. See, unlike Ionacher, who's really raw, this guy's ready to go. This guy can be a swing tackle. He can play left tackle in the All-Star game. He played right tackle to show his versatility. He can block in space. He had a 66.7 pass blocking grade in 2025. 29 career penalties, which is too many. But a lot of those are after the whistle kinds of things, and he's kind of a nasty finisher, maybe even to the echo of the whistle.
Here's the thing. Is he better than Verdarian Lowe?
No, there's no doubt.
Is he better than Verdarian Lowe?
Yeah, there's no question. No question he's better than Verdarian Lowe. Verdarian Lowe's obviously experienced and maybe not on day one, but this guy I think is a good tackle. 6'7", 315, 320, good feet, and he's played both the right side and the left side. He's got real stature. He's gone up against the best rushers in the best conference in America, and now Joe Staley's been working with him, and I love that. So I'm going to go Austin Barber as the perfect future left tackle. And I think you can get him with one of those 4th-round picks.
So to me, the single most perfect fit in this draft for the 49ers, who will be there for them with their 4 4th-round compensatory picks, or 3 of them are compensatory, 1 of them is theirs. But whatever, those 4 4th-rounders, there is no more perfect fit. And I got into this with you a little bit on Friday, Larry. I'm going to come back to it. He is the star of today's thumbnail on the Plus, Kaleon Black. There is no more ready to go day one, I think, player in this draft, especially when you're saying, so we're not drafting you to be our starting running back. You're drafted to be a guy who helps Christian McCaffrey through this season, a guy who's going to take a lot of those in between the tackle carries from the 20 and in. A lot of those, Christian can't get hit like that over the course of 17 weeks, and we're going to have you come on in. And when you come on in, we just need you to produce something according to the NFL average and never fumble the ball, never turn it over. And this is the most never turn it over running back in this draft. I think Kaleon Black is an easy call for the 49ers and would be like universally that's a great pick, from, Todd McShay to Mel Kiper to the stingiest, angriest content creator the Niners have, whoever that is. I think everyone would be like, Kaleon Black, 4th round, you're getting that guy. Coming in at pick 138. That's easy money. It's just sitting there for you. Go pick it up. Kaleon Black. And you don't need to worry about, do you think Jordan Watkins is going to play? Do you think that the other kid from Oregon who they drafted and didn't play until the Seahawks game in the playoffs? Jordan Watkins.
Jordan James.
Jordan James. Thank you very much. Too many Jordans. What do you do with Jordan James? Are you going to go through another season of, carrying running backs who are just out of the realm of even thinking about you're playing them? That can't happen anymore. You can't have guys on your team that you're definitely not going to play unless the entire position group gets in a van accident. You know what I mean? you cannot.
I like that. First of all, Kaleon Black is a tremendous back. I mean, he was with Cignetti at James Madison. He transferred to Indiana.
Culture.
He's a culture player. Yeah,
those
are more important than good players, I think, are culture.
Yeah, you said something on Friday that I actually turned into a YouTube short, and I don't even think I say a word in it, but I thought the message was good enough to where I'm like, yeah, I'm putting this up on my page as a YouTube short, where you were talking about how you don't draft players, you draft people, and people matter. The right people absolutely matter. And this, to me, is one of those, you're drafting the right people pick at a position where you have a touch of need. And the number one disqualifier, the number one reason why you might get Isaac Guerendo'd is if you are turnover prone. Well, this guy eliminates that number one reason for Kyle to fall out of love with him on the day he's drafted. He does not fumble. He will not fumble. He won't fumble. He can't fumble, Larry. It can't happen.
He's an amazing tough guy too. I mean, he's got leg strength for days. He moves the pile. I mean, I saw it in the All-Star game. He saw it this first 3 runs in the Senior Bowl. It was like, Kaleon Black off to the right, off the left side. That's a gain of 4. And then all of a sudden, pause. Whoa, wait a second. He's still going. Hey, whoa. No, that's going to be a Kaleon Black for a gain of 7. Great run there by Black. And as you see here, Dom, he really pushed the pile. Next play, they hand it to him up the middle. Kaleon Black, a gain of 4, and he keeps going. We'll say that's a gain of 6. I mean, Kaleon Black, and this was at the end of a long, arduous season, a long playoff run, played in the Natty. Everybody else was rested and ready and laying around on just getting ready for this whole thing. He was playing and grinding, and he still showed up, and he was unbelievable. So, yes, that's a great one. Kaleon Black is a culture player. I'm going to go at running back with Mike Washington. And here's Todd McShay.
Wait a minute. So my first question is, Larry, you're spending a 2nd round pick on a running back?
I like Mike Washington. Yeah, I do. And I'm moving back to get another pick I'm moving back in round 1 to get another pick so I can draft Mike Washington. I'm going to move back from 27, hopefully into that 35 to 40 range, and get one more pick on day 2.
Yeah, because I don't think this guy's out of the second round.
I think he's a second round pick.
Here's the Waj.
Here is McShay on his podcast, and this is a short. You can see this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Here's McShay talking about him. Listen to this. Tell me what you think.
Mike Washington had a workout equivalent to that of like a top 15 pick at the running back position. That's not often. Mike Washington from Arkansas, who we told you, really good tape, catches the ball, power back, all those things that you look for in the NFL, came to the Senior Bowl and stood out as probably the best running back there in totality. Mike Washington's 6'1", he's 223 pounds. I just told you the numbers of Jadarian Price, who was the talk of the town in Indy today. He had a 39-inch vertical. He's bigger. He's 2 inches taller. He's 20 pounds heavier. And he had 4 more inches on his vertical. He had 4 more inches on his broad jump. They were both second best. He ran a 1.51. I told you Jadarian ran a 1.61. He ran a 1.51. It was the best of any running back in this class this year. It's elite, man. Take that with the Waj, the weight adjusted number at 1.51. He ran a 4.33, also best. How does that not solidify him at least as a day 2 pick? Mike.
What do you think?
Well, so sexy players, sexy numbers, great combine numbers. We went through an entire college football season without using his name once, though. I mean, I'll say that. Shame on Arkansas for not getting more out of him.
They were bad this year. I mean, they weren't. It wasn't a great team. Taylon Green is a prospect, but he didn't have a particularly good year either, and yet he's in the draft.
Larry, I just think we were talking about perfect fits. I just don't think that they need to, with other needs, be spending a pick on running back when we all know that no matter what, no matter who they have, they could draft Barry Sanders in this upcoming draft, and we're going to get a 4-1, 5-1 out-touched by Christian McCaffrey, no matter who it is.
Well, I mean, how do you want to win? I mean, here's the question: how are the Niners going to win, and how are they going to beat Seattle? And to me, the more I watched that Seattle Niner game again for the first time.
Did it get any better?
No, it didn't get better. But I'll say this: the Niners aren't going to beat Seattle if they cannot move Leonard Williams or Byron Murphy. Okay. And then they are not going to beat Seattle. And I'm talking about, they might beat them once, but they're not going to have the upper hand on Mike McDonald's Seattle Seahawks unless they can run successfully at light boxes, because Seattle is daring the Niners to run and the Niners can't run. And they said it was, it's not Christian, but then immediately upon review of the season, it's like, we need to get Christian, we need to have some shared touches. We need to, and he's an older player that's been used heavily. No matter what. 450 touches. He's an older player.
To keep him at, a level of, this is a scary playoff weapon, you cannot just burn his wick down to the nub every game, every week of the regular season. And that's,
you got to start throwing it, and you got to start using them differently too. You can't just run them between the tackles. So I think they need a couple things. They need to bolster that offensive line. They need to start being able to bully people inside. You said it a couple weeks ago, and who agrees with you is Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman is, I have a quote here from Richard Sherman from the article from today where he says, you got to get some attitude back on that offensive line. I think that's where you got to go. And I think that's what the San Francisco 49ers have focused on this offseason. Just to whether it's depth guys, versatile guys, but I think they're going to continue that in the draft. They're going to have to. And then you're going to have to get some defensive linemen as well. But you're not beating Seattle if you can't run the ball, and you can't run the ball unless you can block Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy and you're not going to be able to get to run the ball if you don't have a back that has speed to the edge in an outside zone. So Mike Washington has it all. He has 225 pounds. He can get to the edge. He's 225 pounds, so he's durable. And he's got the ability to receive. Now, he does have
I think, not to get into my choice versus your choice, but some guy here, YX34 says, Damon's so dumb. He's criticizing Krug for taking a running back when Damon just said get a running back. There's a big difference between getting a running back at 50-something as opposed to 130-something in this draft. And
what we're doing, maybe he's falling into the stream in the middle, by the way. What we're doing today is we're going position by position on the Niner needs, and we're finding a guy. So, yes, we're both going to go tackle, then we're both going to go running back, then we're both going to go edge. See, that's kind of how this stream's going. So
I think though is it seems to be an internet theory or a draftism theory that a lot of people still carry a lot of water in. I'm surprised that more water has not fallen out of this bucket with the impacts we've seen of Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, and we just saw running back win Super Bowl MVP. I am completely out on this. Running backs are a dime a dozen. If you draft a running back high, you're stupid. This is playmaking. You're talking about someone who's going to be touching the football the second most on your team other than the quarterback himself. No one touches the ball more than the center. We all know that. But
it's about longevity. It's about longevity. I mean,
right.
Like Jeremiah Love's a great player, but I wouldn't take Jeremiah Love in the top 10 because he's a running back. And I would if I were I would take a running back in the top 10 if I had a top 10 pick and I was Seattle, right? If I were the Seahawks right now, I could get my hands on Jeremiah Love. I absolutely would do it.
You don't.
That's a unique situation. I wouldn't take. Tennessee shouldn't take him, but by the time Tennessee and Cam Ward are ready to win a Super Bowl, Jeremiah Love's going to be hurt, or he's going to be out of the league, or he's just going to be a guy. It's going to take a while. So I do understand the super high number one pick. People struggle with that because the shelf life. Todd Gurley is a good example. Todd Gurley was out of football by 29. Well, there's quarterbacks at that same spot that aren't even getting their opportunity quite yet. And then they're going to play a decade after that. So I do understand. And offensive linemen last a long time. So the running back thing is a short play. But it's if you're ready to go, if you're a team like the Niners right now, you might look for a running back. But I just think that Mike Washington's the fit. Why? Jeremiah Love not going to be there. Jadarian Price, I think, is going to go early, late first. I think he may go to Seattle at 32. I really think that's a high likelihood. And then when I go through the rest of this group, man, I just don't. Emmett Johnson is good, really good, but he's small, and I don't know that he can handle the pounding. Jonah Coleman is really good, but he's kind of slow at 220 pounds on a 5'8" frame. Katron Allen from Penn State, very slow. And then you've got guys that are fast, like Seth McGowan from Kentucky, Damon Claiborne from Wake Forest. But a lot of the book on Claiborne is that he's kind of a crazy guy. Then there's Nick Singleton from Penn State, but his instincts are not great. So it's like, I understand why if you really felt like Christian would needed help, and you're looking at this running back field where you'd say, God, man, who do we like? And I bet you that Barrow said they're reporting, he's reported that they're sniffing around heavily around Mike Washington.
How much do you think the Niners are looking at safety as a priority draft position, as a first or second round option in this draft?
Well, I think so. But before we get to safety, let me just say this. A couple of more running backs. Jamal Haynes, Georgia Tech, converted wide receiver. If you're like Damon and you're like, hey, get a running back, but don't get one early, that's an undrafted free agent back that is going to be very attractive. There's a Florida international kid named Kajon Owens who's got a lot of McCaffrey to him. He can catch it. He can run with it. Mediocre 40 time, but he's a really good player. And the last guy, Jam Miller, I think might be a good fit for the Niners just because Bobby T likes running backs who block. Jam Miller is probably the best blocking back in this draft. Your guy, Kalen Black's a great one. And Jamari Taylor from Virginia is another guy. Great contact balance, which is also what Kalen Black is really good at. So And then some people like Eli Heidenreich as a convertible, Navy wide receiver, running back, that he could be a Christian clone. So those are the guys that stand out. I'll go with Washington. You've got Black. Let's go to safety. Let's move to safety because you brought up safety. I do think safety is a major need. The 49ers have
like 58 overall major need.
They need a player who can cover. They don't have a coverage player at safety. So the best coverage safety, I think, is probably Bud Clark. But he's also 6 feet and 185 pounds. And that's like a cornerback size. That's like 10 pounds lighter than you would like your corner to be. So that's kind of skinny. That's kind of the durability would be.
He plays like he's 200 plus. He's a tackler like he's 200 plus. He is not afraid to put his helmet in on any single play out there. Again, he's got a 38-inch vert. If we're going to say
coverage player, he's a coverage player.
Yeah, if we're going to say size didn't matter on D'Angelo Pons, I think it's got to not matter on this guy either. When you've got a 38-inch vertical, for goodness sakes, he's a 4.41.
That's not we're talking about height with Pons. We're talking about heft with Clark. That's the difference. I mean, AJ Halsey's 215. Manuel McNeil Warren's 200 pounds.
I think he's someone who put 10 pounds of muscle on him in his first training camp. Like, I just think you put that guy in an NFL weight room doing NFL things, and he'll be the size that you need him to be quickly.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Durability wise, I can't have a safety. I can't have a safety that's just a cover guy. I got to have a safety that can stick his head in there and really hit. So I don't like Clark as much, though I do think he's a great cover guy. I think he's the best. I think he's the tightest coverage safety in this draft. I like Jalen Kilgore. I think he's Nicky Manwari type. I mean, he's a corner. He's a nickel corner. He's a safety. He's a weak side linebacker. He's 6'1", 215 and hits like a truck and runs 4.4 flat. He is the kind of special athlete that Manwari is. And I love Kilgore. I love Kilgore, and I'm not even sure where I'd play him. I mean, I might get to training camp and he might be a linebacker. I might get to training camp and he might be a corner. But he is 6'1", 210, 215, 4.4 flat, awesome speed, big-time hitter, force in the run game because he is such a violent player. I like him. I like Kilgore. To me, that's the guy that I would go for. But I also kind of think that there's reason to believe that he's the guy that they like. And the other name is another safety they met with it early in the draft process. They did meet with Cole Wisniewski from Texas Tech, but they also met with Miles Rouser from ASU. And Miles Rouser is such a hitter. I mean, this guy he absolutely wants to destroy everybody, seek and destroy. So I just think that John Lynch is going to see that and be like, give me some Miles Rouser. So I like those two guys, Jalen Kilgore, Miles Rouser. Who's your safety? Who's a perfect fit at safety?
I like Bud Clark, and I do like him at 58. I would take him there. I really would. I think that he's just the right player. And you talk about cover. We got a super that just came in, but it applies directly to this conversation. Just saying, should good safety prospects be 200 plus pounds? I mean, almost everybody on the field is 200 plus pounds in this league right now. You got wide receivers going at 200. I mean, there are just it's a league full of dudes.
It's about your ability to move. I mean, it's not, you could be any weight. I mean, heck, the guy who was the best Niner rookie last year? It was Upton Scout. He was tiny. So, all right, let's go to tight end.
Yes.
Who is the perfect fit for the 49ers at tight end?
So
Kenyon Sadiq is the number one tight end in the. Sorry about that.
I'm going to say, Larry, let's shout out Jake Tongas. Okay, I think this guy is the perfect pass catching tight end to be this year's playing for George Kittle. I like him an awful lot.
Who's that?
Tongas. I think the guy that they need is already on their roster. But then again, what happens if he gets hurt and you need more than one tight end? I'm looking at a name that I think is 100% there in the 4th round, and it's Marlon Klein, the 6'6", 250-pound tight end out of Michigan. The guy is a target. He's a mover of people as well. He'll be able to play on the line of scrimmage in a way that I don't think necessarily Tongas is physically ready to play. I think that this is your perfect second tight end. And in the 4th round, he's there, and I think would be an easy pick at 139.
Who's that?
Marlon Klein.
Marlon Klein from Germany. That's a good one. Marlon Klein.
Well, I mean, Marlon Klein from Ann Arbor via Germany.
yeah. He's. I'll tell you, I the more I watch your guy from Indiana, and now he's not really a tight end. He's kind of a fullback.
H-back. Yes.
He's kind of an H-back. Riley Nowakowski. That's my guy. The more I watch him, I really, really like him. First of all, if you're going to play fullback, I talked to Juice about this, and I talked to a couple of the tight end coach before he left for Seattle as the OC, Brian Fleury. I said, Brian, why is it that it seems like, and I was asking about Cam Latu. Why is Latu struggling? And he's like, you know what? It's a big mental thing playing tight end or fullback in this offense because of all of the shifts and the motions and the high volume of the playbook and all the different things that Kyle has. It's like every position's not like every other position. He's like, you really need cerebral guys who are breaking. It's hard for rookies to step in and play tight end in the Niners system. It's hard for rookies to step in and play fullback. And it's probably the reason they keep going back to Juice. But here's Nowakowski, who's played linebacker, fullback, tight end in his college career. He also has already earned his bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. This is a smart guy. He's pursuing a certificate in business analytics from Indiana.
Well, and you got to love a brother with a Polish last name, right? I mean, that alone makes him intriguing. But let me just say this as somebody who watched every snap Indiana played last year.
It's a blocker.
With all the talent that Indiana had, a Heisman winning quarterback, receivers who are getting drafted for sure in 10 days from now, with running backs who are absolutely in play to be drafted. The amount of times in crucial gots-to-have-it moments they found and went to Nowakowski was amazing. This guy, for being an unheralded name, came up with more big plays in important moments in games that absolutely tilted Indiana's entire season. I'm talking about the Penn State game at Happy Valley, the Iowa game, where Iowa gave them one of their toughest games of the entire year. And he was great in that game, doing all the little things, all the dirty work, and then leaked out on 3rd down and kept the drive alive. Thank God he made that play. It was him as much as anybody in that offense. So you got a player, you got a culture fit. I like him too, Larry. I really do.
Yeah. And I look at it as, is he a tight end? Well, he might be a tight end a little bit. He also might be your future Juice.
He might be undrafted.
No, I don't think he's going to be drafted. We're talking about the last pick of the 4th round, or in a trade back situation. I think you probably get him more like the 6th round.
Yeah,
maybe 7th round, and maybe he's undrafted. Yeah, he might be undrafted.
He is. He's got one of those. He's a tweener. He's an absolute football tweener. How do you use him? Where do you use him? And I think most coaches look at that and go, I can't work with that. Where Kyle Shanahan looks at that and goes, oh, the options are endless. I can line this guy up in 6 different places and work with him.
Let's go linebacker. Who is the perfect linebacker fit for the 49ers? You could argue that this is one of those, is it a need? Is it not a need? I mean, there's going to be, most NFL teams keep 5 linebackers. Some NFL teams keep 6. The 49ers right now have D. Winters, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Tatum Bethune. That's 4. Nick Martin is 5. And then they've got Luke Gifford, the special teamer. That's 6. But they also re-signed Garrett Wallow, the special teamer. So that's 7. You still have Jalen Graham and a couple other guys sitting around. So you got two special teamers that you like. One was an all-pro special teamer in Gifford, right?
Well, and
So
that Trey Greenlaw is missing 4 games this year at least, right? I mean, you can pencil him in for 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got Warner coming off an injury, and you got Winters. So then you basically your young linebackers who are not Warner or Greenlaw and aren't special teamers. You have Winters, Bethune, and Nick Martin. Bethune might be a tad slow. Winters, you wonder about his ability to kind of stack and shed. And then Martin just didn't get on the field. Didn't get on the field.
Do you believe in Nick Martin, yes or no?
I do. I absolutely do.
Then I think you don't need to draft linebacker.
Yeah, so I would kind of agree. It's gone from like it's a need, but then at the same time, where's the great young linebacker? Do you have a great young linebacker? And I don't know that you do. And it would be really nice, like Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech is a very good player. I mean, could John Lynch take him in the first round? Could C.J. Allen go in the first round? I don't know. Torian York from Texas A&M is a small linebacker who they're saying is going to go in the 4th round, but he's very, very productive. Very productive. 5'11", 230. Very productive player in College Station. Or there's also there's lots of day 3 guys out there as well.
Can I just dip back into my alma mater one more time for you here, Larry?
Go for it. Aiden Fisher. Again, I was thinking
perfect fits in those 4 4th-round picks. He's 100% going to be there. He might be the kind of guy that they took with the last compensatory pick that they have, and it still doesn't grade out well because people think Fisher could be a 6th-rounder or maybe even an undrafted guy. But he's one of those, you draft people, not players. He was a James Madison boy. He came to IU with Signetti. He literally was in the middle of every single defensive play the Indiana Hoosiers made over the last 2 years as they, just took over the college football world. He's somebody who's made over 200 tackles in the last 2 seasons, 5.5 sacks, 2 interceptions in his senior season. I mean, color me biased, but I think he's a guy that you could put on this team and not asking him to be a day 1 starter. Just, hey, man, look, learn, and be ready. I think he would fit that role perfectly.
I kind of feel like the 9. That's a great one, by the way. You're talking about Aiden Fisher. I mean, how do you go wrong? Another culture fit. I mean, another culture type player. I mean, this guy plays for keeps, man. This guy's playing for keeps. He's a real player. I'm going to go with Khalil Jacobs, who's another, I'm looking for probably not a draft pick, right? I love Eric Hunter from Morgan State, but I think Khalil Jacobs, the Niners brought him in for a workout. He's a Missouri linebacker who's from Mississippi, 6'1", 230, but he's a really great special teamer. And when you're looking for a guy on this team, at this point, anybody they get is not starting over Fred. They're not starting over these other guys unless they got C.J. Allen. And I don't think that C.J. Allen would be too much of a luxury. I think C.J. Allen would interest them an awful lot if he's there. I got to think they probably like C.J. Allen. I personally like Harold Perkins and Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh and Perkins from LSU. But I even think those guys are probably too high in the draft. I think it's probably a day 3 type situation at linebacker. And I'll as I said, I'm going to go Khalil Jacobs, Missouri, just on the standpoint of excellent special teamer. And if there's an undrafted player.
Well, what do you think of Josiah Trotter at Mizzou? I mean, that's a guy who, if they
you got to worry about the injuries. I think he's had some injuries.
If they traded out of the 1st round and now you've got multiple 2nd-round picks, I could see him being a 2nd-round pick. If they value a Niner, if they value a need at linebacker, again, what they do in this draft will tip us off as to what they think of their own roster in some ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, Josiah Trotter, they say have listed here at 75. I love him. I mean, this is one of the best run defenders in the entire draft. I mean, I absolutely love him. He
plays nasty, Larry. He's a nasty player.
Yeah, he's definitely nasty. All right, let's go. Did we go to?
No, let's
Go ahead. We haven't done edge.
This.
We haven't done guard, and we haven't
Okay.
done free safety. Or did we do free? No, we didn't do free.
We did. We talked about a cover safety. So.
Oh yeah, you went. That's right. Actually, I wrote safety down twice. You're wrong. We did safety. Okay, so we did safety, tight end, linebacker, wide receiver, running back, and future left tackle. We've saved two of the best for last. Okay, defensive end and offensive guard. But did you want to talk about something else before?
So what I wanted to bring up is the perfect way to slide right into this, because let's talk about what the Niners have done in the past. They have
in the draft.
Yes, they have drafted D-line with their first round pick more often than not, it feels like. They have also drafted guys who have come in for visits more often than not. Has Cassius Howell had a visit with the 49ers, Larry?
No. By the way, they have since 2015, 1/3 of their first round draft choices came in for top 30 visits. So 2/3 didn't, 1/3 did.
What edge have they had a visit with? Do you have the list of all visits?
Yeah, I'll show it to you. Yeah, I can show it to you here. Hold on a second. I'll call it up here on the screen. You guys can all take a look. It's a lot of names at this. It's a lot of names at this point. But here it is. Pre-draft tracker. Okay. Let me share the screen and you guys can take a peek at and it's an extensive list, but it's a good list. It's a good list to peruse, I think, especially at this time of year.
Again,
list. Not an end all be all, but it's a good list.
If we're playing draft detective, you got to look at clues, and clues from past years are they talk to their first round pick more often than not. At least that's the way it feels. Let me just say this too. We have over 1,000 people watching right now, Larry, across all platforms. Twitter, YouTube, wherever else we're streaming. Hit like and subscribe if you would, please. And just as important, hit that notify button when we go live. We're going to be going live an awful lot with the upcoming draft. You'll know about it instantly. So thanks very much for liking, subscribing, and supporting the show through supporting our sponsors and all that good stuff. All right, here are 30 visits allowed.
So yeah, this is I'm going to move down this list slowly so you guys can kind of peruse it. But this is basically the list. And if you can't see it, Denzel Boston, Chris Brazzell, Casey Concepcion, Omar Cooper, Caleb Douglas, Romello Height, Malachi Lawrence, Cole Wisniewski. So a lot of Texas Tech. 1, 2, 3, 3 different Texas Tech guys, and they only brought in, 8 guys total.
4 different Texas Tech guys.
Is there 4 there?
Oh, no, sorry. It's Texas A&M.
Yeah, a lot of Texas. So anyway, there you go. That's the 30 visits. Okay, but then there's all these too. There's virtual interviews, and they've had one with Brent Austin Barber, who I mentioned before. There's a lot of names here. Cash Jones, what a great name that is.
Yeah.
Running back from Georgia. Then they did a private or semi-private workout with a couple guys. This is Big Citrus, by the way, Dominique Orange. One of the great nicknames of the draft cycle is Big Citrus. Other meetings, there's some interesting ones there. Travis Burke is a 6'9" offensive tackle from Memphis that they met with. Very interesting name. Jamari Taylor. A lot of the talk about Jamari Taylor is that he has elite contact balance and that he is considered a guy that they really like as well. And they brought him in. And then reported interest, Mike Washington from Matt Barrows. That's how we got that one. I think that Ethan Sanchez one's kind of interesting. The kicker, right? Would they really be interested in a kicker? No. And this was when they went to their pro days. Khalil Jacobs, who I just put on that list right there from Missouri. So Ike Larson is an interesting one. They were at his pro day. So there's some interesting names there. Also as you can see, there's some really obscure players here. Adita Singh. Some of these guys are really raw, really,
right. I mean, so what I think anybody in here, Larry, is they're already saying to themselves, we're going to spend more money in undrafted free agency than we did last year. We're going to start we're going to start rummaging through the odd lot pile right now is what I see in those interviews and those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I and then this is the local pro day, by the way. You look at all these names on the local pro day, and Ross Blacklock is a veteran defensive tackle. I was at the local pro day. And here's the big list of guys who are there. So, I mean, as you can see, between the local pro day and the virtual visits and the combine and the Senior Bowl and the American Bowl and the East West Shrine and the showcases and the Gridiron Classics and the Hula Bowl, and the combine and the pro days, and there's lots.
Look at it this way, Larry. They got 6
ways.
picks. They got 6 picks as it stands right now. I bet you 3 names of their 6 picks are right there on that list somewhere.
Which is half, which means that half are not. So it's like, I've always kind of wondered, because I've done videos on this in the past, like how much of an indicator is it? And I'll say this, it's hardly an end all be all or for sure, but it's an indicator. It's an absolute indicator.
Again, just walking around the crime scene looking for clues. Here's a clue.
So let's go to defensive end. Let's go to edge. And who do you think is the perfect fit for what they're doing, what they want to get done on the edge?
It's so funny with all the rounds of mocks that we all go through. One of the very first mocks I saw had Cassius Howell right there, the edge for Texas A&M, going to the Niners. I saw another one today that's got Akeem Mesidor out of Miami. So, people I think in the know that betting on a defensive lineman, especially at edge, is probably a way to go. It's what they did, with Michael Williams. And they don't think they're going to probably start the season with him. So it feels like it's addressed, yet it's also very much a need. And I just, will be the least surprised man in the world if with the very first pick at 27, they took Cassius Howell. And again, as much as I've been saying, you got to go tackle. I wouldn't mind that pick at all. Would not mind that pick at all. You can take the SEC reigning defensive player of the year, a guy who's had a staggering amount of success in a league full of beef on the line of scrimmage. His game is speed. They need more speed than they need bully, I think, at edge. I think he's the perfect D Fordish type of counterweight to Bosa. This is a pick that you probably would not need to make if you were going to go and get Joey Bosa in free agency. But short of doing that, Cassius Howell being their first pick of the first round would, I wouldn't even bat an eye. I'd say it's probably a good pick.
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? Arvell Reese, David Bailey, Reuben Bain, going to be off the board. And maybe Akeem Mesidor. I think in some ways you could argue Akeem Mesidor would be a great pick because he's very polished. He's played a lot of football. He's older. They're obviously trying to win right away. And so a guy like Mesidor, you might be able to just put him out there week 1. But I also question whether he'll even be there, to be completely honest, because I think there's an awful lot of people that want a ready-to-play, really good defensive end who's very productive and did it. So I think he might go in the 20s.
Might make Howell fall. The only thing that might make Howell fall, and this is, I was watching a segment that Greg Cosell was doing on Colin Cowherd. He's saying, look, I don't know. I can't look into the hearts of all these GMs and how much they are going to prioritize arm length and immeasurable over production. Some front offices do, other front offices don't. Are there enough front offices that look at a lack of long arms in Cassius Howell and say to themselves, that's the reason why I'm passing?
I think it's possible. It's possible. There's a belief that if he doesn't win with his initial burst, that he is going to get stonewalled because of his lack of length. And so that is a concern. And yet, you know what? The scouting reports on him were, man, he's all biz and he's got a real refined, he's got a full pass rush bag, right? He's got moves, he's got counters,
he's got dips and swim moves, and he's got a lot. For a guy with short arms, he sure knows how to use his arms.
Yeah, well, this guy's been great at rushing the passer for a long time. But I kind of look at this thing and go, you know what? Who's making the pick? And I think it's a Raheem Morris pick. I think this is the Raheem Morris pick. And who did Raheem Morris draft last year? He drafted Jalen Walker and James Pierce. Those guys were 245-pound speed rushers, and they really, and who did Morris get in LA, you got Jared Verse. So I'm going to share the screen. There's a guy. I think that, first of all, Reese is gone. Bailey's gone. Bain's gone. Keldrick Falk could be gone, though I really do like him. Some people really don't. He only had 2 sacks this last year, but he's 6'6", 280, very athletic. Cassius Howell could be gone.
He sounds like this year's Michael Williams, if you don't mind me saying.
Who 2
sacks, great body.
In Keldrick Falk.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of, I think there's a lot there. There's a lot of similarities there. The guy that I think is the guy that stands out to me, and I think probably would stand out to Raheem Morris, is Akis from Illinois. And here is Todd McShay on why he thinks
Gabe Akis. He's just NFL built, man. He's 6'4". He's 260 pounds, 33-inch arm length, 10-inch hands. He's got heavy / explosive hands. Upper body power is there. The motor is there. 16.8% pass rush win rate, 27 sacks over 50 career games in Illinois, okay? He's one of those bully, physical, get your hands inside and then when he gets inside, controls, locates, and then chases, out of his mind. These guys don't fail. When you're built like that, you've multi-year starter, impact player, interview process, sensational. He's everything you want. Gabe Akis.
So there you go.
NFL built, man. He's 6'4".
I'm a big fan of Akis, and I just think that there's a lot of Jared Verse to him, Damon. He's a lot like Jared Verse. He's 6'4", he's 260, and he's just a beast. I mean, he's really strong. And he's just one of those guys that it's almost impossible to get this guy blocked. I mean, give you an example. I was looking at this yesterday. Keldrick Falk has a big name, but he only had 2 sacks last year in 558 snaps. All right. Yakis, by comparison, had 11 sacks in only 529 snaps, and he was playing in the Big Ten. I mean, I like Malachi Lawrence, but he's got shoulder surgeries on both shoulders. He had 7 sacks in 470 defensive snaps, so that's a good number. Zion Young at 6.5 in 569 snaps. But Falk, 2 sacks in 558 snaps. Gabe Yakis, 11 sacks in 529 snaps.
I'll tell you what.
I like those numbers. I like Yakis. The 159 10-yard split is an elite time. And that's the kind of time that I think you get a difference maker. Then you get the strength of Verse. This guy's legit 260. And I think he would be their guy. And I think you could even trade back from 27 into the 30s or maybe even low 40s and still get Akis and get another pick. So I like Gabe Akis. I think that's the guy. If it wasn't Akis, seems like Mesidor would be a great fit for them because he's ready to play right now, but I'll go Gabe Akis.
Look, I'm not going to hold it against him. I don't know. Maybe he was unavailable that day, but Illinois had one really big football game on their schedule this year. It was a show us who you were going to be game, and it was played in Bloomington, and Indiana won 63-10. Akis's name does not show up in the box score. Maybe he didn't play that day, but if he did, he got shut out, stoned.
Well, how many times did Mendoza pass? Probably not too much.
Mendoza that day threw 23. He was 21-23, just carving him up 5 touchdowns.
How many times did they run, though?
Indiana that day ran 49 times.
Yeah, 49 runs.
Well, what's going to happen when you're up 63-10 and you got a coach like Signetti who knows how to bleed clock and just but look at it this way, they still put it on him 63-10.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Second round. Sure. You're trading back for that. He's not being taken at 27.
I love him. I mean, first of all, this guy doesn't have length problems. This guy's got unbelievable body and strength. And I just think that, you're going to, I just think, you're not projecting what they did. We're projecting what they're going to do at the next level. So, it's like, otherwise we could just go to the list of tackles and sacks and just be like, oh, this guy had the most sacks, this guy had the most tackles. These are the best players. But that's not the way it works. But yeah, so I'm going Yakis and you're going Howell. that what you're going? No, who are you going?
Yeah.
How?
Yes.
Okay, let's go guard. This is another interesting one. We're offensive guard. What do you think of offensive guard in this? Who is the good fit for the 49ers at offensive guard? Who's the perfect fit?
It's funny to me. I'm almost not even looking at guards as much as I'm at tackles, as much as I look at tackles and ask myself, does this guy, can he play guard? I think they need a tackle more than they need a guard.
They need a starting left guard. Who's going to start at left guard?
It's a good question.
Yeah, they need a guard, man. They need we know they need a tackle, but that's not about what they need. It's about the future. They need a tackle for the future. I've already got mine in Austin Barber in the 4th round.
Okay.
But you need a guard. So you need you need a left guard. Somebody's got to play left guard. In fact, Mayoko's of the belief that if if they don't, that they have to get a guard. That guard is absolutely essential. And that if they're going to go offensive line in round 1. By the way, I retweeted this yesterday. I would encourage anybody who's got time, go watch the Mike Tice video that he did with his son, Nathan Tice, I should say. Mike Tice and Nate Tice. It's at Nate Tice. You can find it on X. But Mike Tice, former offensive line coach for the Raiders and a number of teams in the league, and he's a great guy. He's really smart. He did a 2-hour breakdown on like 40 or 50 different offensive linemen, and it's really good. It's really good. I put it out there.
To me, this is one of those, did you trade back? And if you did, how much do you like Jennings Dunker? Jennings Dunker is another one of those guys who could be your swing tackle in emergency and be a starting guard.
Yeah, I love Jennings Dunker. I think Jennings Dunker is one of the most special players in the whole draft. I love him. I think Jennings Dunker would be a tremendous. I don't like him as a tackle. I really don't.
I do remember on Friday, were you talking about what was it? Chase Bersantes out of A&M?
Bersantes, yeah.
Again, compensatory. Is he there in that 4 for the 4th?
No. He's going to go in the 1st round.
You think he's off the board in the 1st round now?
Yep. I think the Niners may take him at 27. I really do. I love Chase Bersantes too, but to me, that's a little high for a guard. I can't go guard that high. I can go guard that high. I just can't go Chase Bersantes that high.
Here's the thing. Are you drafting player or are you drafting need over player at that point? And then John Lynch trips on that.
I know. It's a major thing. All right. I love this kid a wee woo, but that's me liking him. The guy, I don't know what they like at guard, and it's hard. It's not an easy thing to project. I would say, they always seem like they like guys who can move, but Bersantes, I think if Ione fell to them from Penn State, I think they'd take him. I think if Bersantes is on the board for them at 27, I think there's a very high likelihood they go with him. The guy that I love, and the more I watched this guy, the more I thought, Jesus, look at this freaking guy. And he's just such a freaking unbelievable road grader in the run game. Now, I always felt like one of the most underrated programs for offensive linemen is Auburn. Auburn has some amazing guys. And here's Jeremiah Wright. Jeremiah Wright is a guard, okay? This guy, unbelievable wide body guard, 6'5", 340, okay? This guy is the old $5 cab ride to get around him. He's just so broad, it's unbelievable. He's thick. He's got great athleticism. He's violent. Played over 2,000 snaps.
By the way,
heavy hands.
That's some great scout speak right there. $5 cab ride to just get around him.
Oh, he's so wide. I mean, this guy is unbelievable.
That's a great line. I mean, some guy's going to show up to training camp wearing that T-shirt. $7 Uber. Yeah, he takes a lift to get around this guy. But I'm going to share the screen on this because the highlights on this kid
are ridiculous. Now, he plays right guard, so you might have to move him. But, I mean, he is broad and he is this bullish. And watch this. Watch these highlights. I mean, he's just so strong. He just walls people off. Look how broad this guy is. He's just, guys can run behind him. He's got a wide base. He's
got a really wide base.
I mean, the way he just, and this is the SEC. This is the Iron Bowl.
Yeah. His feet are way outside his shoulder pads.
You know, but look at that. Look at that.
Boom.
Oh, and then he piled on that guy at the end, too. Somebody grabbed his face mask there. He's pulling across the formation. He's a big boy, dude. I mean, this is a big guy. This guy might be more of a gap scheme guy than an outside zone speed guy. So this is probably not the perfect fit for the 49ers, but I just love this player. And this is the kind of wide body. I mean, they have to be able to block Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams. And that means you got to have some big, strong dudes inside. You can't lean on Jake Brendel from UCLA guy in his 8th year, who's 285 pounds and is just getting his stuff jacked. No, you got to have some guys who can move some people in the run game. Now, granted, Jake knows what he's doing. These guys don't. So that's part of it. That last one was really nice, though. He just walled off and the guy ran right inside of his.
Again, I want to go from Jake to Jake, man. I want to go from Jake Brendel to Jake Slaughter.
I love Jake Slaughter too.
Slaughter too. Their love of Brendel will have to be explained to me in a way that I don't know if it can be explained to me, Larry. Like,
oh, I can explain it. I can explain it right now. Here's the explanation. The Niners spent a lot of money on Weston Richburg. Niners spent a lot of money on Alex Mack. The Niners, Shanahan entered the Niners with this belief that you had to have big money at center and that center was vitally important. Well, Firster said, hey, Kyle, I've got a way we can save a lot of money. I was in Miami with this guy, Jake Brendel, and I think he's got the goods and to play inside here. And so they went with Brendel. Brendel had a Pro Bowl alternate season 3 or 4 seasons ago. And so Chris Firster, I'm sure, in the eyes of Kyle Shanahan, is a conquering hero. Heck, we were spending millions on our center. Now Chris got us this guy Brendel as a street free agent. We're paying him basically nothing, and we're getting a similar performance.
You had a fantastic high profile center, but you didn't have the right quarterback behind him. Now you got the right quarterback. Now's the time to spend the money on that center. Now's the time to make the investment right in front of Purdy, since Purdy's your $50 million man. Garoppolo at one point in time was the highest paid quarterback in football, but that was based on timing more than the reality of how good he really was. And everybody else that the Niners have had playing quarterback other than Brock Purdy and a small slice of Mac Jones this year, I don't want to say has been a failure, but is not, congratulations. You're putting Weston Richburg in front of CJ Beathard, and you're going to say the problem here was Richburg?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I understand you don't want to repeat past mistakes, but that to me just doesn't make sense. Jake Brendel we've settled for average written all over him. And I think settling for average is a good way to go from being one of the top dogs in the NFC West to the team that finishes 3rd next year. The line of scrimmage is a different place in today's NFL than it was in the Weston Richburg era, if you don't mind me saying. So it's about trench warfare, and I feel that the 49ers are coming up light at center and left guard, and those are 2 positions that are the fastest way to get to your quarterback.
Now, I am going to show one more clip here, because my guy at center, as you guys know, is Fabechi Wiwu. And here he is playing center.
Really good open field tackle right here.
I'll kill the volume on this, but here is the East-West Shrine game. And what you're going to see is Fabechi lined up at center. Here he is right here. Behind the logo. But this is a Oklahoma kid who played guard, right? And he's got 34.5-inch arms, which are really, really, really long. And to me, I would love, Damon, if the Niners could get, to me, obviously they need to get an edge rusher. Obviously they need to get a safety. They need to get a tight end. But to me, if you can come out of this thing with a really good back and a couple of interior road graders. I'm okay with holding off on tackle to the 4th round, but give me, Jeremiah Wright. Give me this guy, Fabechi Awiwu. You have to be able to move the Seattle D-line, and right now they can't. And to me, these two guys can. Look at the center here. Here he is right here. Good movement right inside his butt. There he goes. Here he is again. Snap, movement, right inside the guy's outside, right off his backside right there. I guess this is just a one-play highlight. But there's that one. Okay, that's one highlight. Look at this highlight right here. Here he is again. Now this is Awiwu playing guard, 54. Guard. Look at the length on the arms. Look at the length on the arms on this guy. I mean, it's ridiculous length on the arms. That's a long arm guy. Arkansas wasn't very good. Or I should say Oklahoma was really good. But this guy is a guard who can play center, who's got great, incredible length. And then if you read it all about this kid, I mean, he won the Don Key Award, which is the highest award given in the Oklahoma program. He's taken snaps at every spot on the offensive line except for left tackle. This guy has got unbelievable work ethic, Damon. This guy went from a walk-on at North Texas to a 2-year starter and an all-conference player in the SEC at Oklahoma. 91.6 pass blocking grade in 2025. He allowed just 2 pressures and 0 sacks on the year. Super stout anchor and pass pro, quick as hell off the snap, played center during the Shrine Bowl, played over 3,000 collegiate snaps. I really like this kid. I mean, he might be a little bit older. He did give up 4 sacks in 2024, didn't allow any in 2025. But I really like this guy, and to me, he is a really nice interior day 3 prospect.
Look, I think that Jake Slaughter is a guy who, even though he's been center, if you play center, you can also play guard. You can draft Jake Slaughter and have him play guard. 6'5", Florida captain, dealing with SEC interior defensive lineman his entire career.
He's good.
I think he's elite pass blocking. He's sound in the run game. I think it's probably easier to improve as a running. It's easier to improve your run blocking than it is your pass blocking. Less technique, more oomph. So I like Slaughter. I like saying the word Awiwu. I think that would be fun. That'd be a fun jersey to look at. But there we go. I mean, I think we went through.
We went through it there. There are, our best guess. I'll give you an undrafted player too. I was at the Niner local pro day, and Stanford has a kid named Clay Patterson who started at Yale and finished up at Stanford, and he was a defensive end, and now is a defensive tackle. He's 285 pounds, and the motor is for days, and he had a huge 36-inch vertical. The violence, Damon, in this kid's ability to run these drills. Like, I watch these drills every day at practice now, and Kasarik putting these rookies through them, but the violence and that he put them through. The other thing, there's a little trick of the trade of the Niner practices. They put the best players up front, right? Here's the linebacker drill. It starts with Fred and Dre. Here's the receiver drill. It starts with JJ and Pearsall. Whoever your best are, those guys
usually get first reps.
First reps, and also they're there to show everybody. Like, hey, this is the guy that we believe in. Christian McCaffrey. Christian, show everybody how to do the rep. All right, now you donkey running back backups, you follow what he did. And that's the football protocol that the Niners use for their practices. Well, who was leading the D-line reps at their local pro day? This Clay Patterson. He was going through and showing everybody else. And Chris and Chris's cohorts had to literally kind of walk the guys through, the gauntlet drills and the different drills, because, the D-line drills where they run this way and they turn around, they run that way, and they turn around, they run that way, and they turn around, they run this way. And it's like, so you got to tell them, you're going to go this way, you're going to go right, you're going to take a right, you're going to go right at that bag, and then you're going to go angles. So he's showing them, he's walking them through it. but he had this kid out there first. Why? Because he was the best player there, and also probably because he's one of the smarter players there, right? The guy went to Yale. The guy went to Stanford. He's going to pick it up. And sure enough, Clay Patterson, remember that name as an undrafted player. I think he might be something, Damon. I mean, this guy is a horse. When you're 290 and you play as hard as that guy played, this year, his film was amazing. Really, really good. So Clay Patterson from Stanford as an undrafted guy. All right, let's hit our sponsors before we hit our supers.
Let's do it.
Prize Picks, of course, the Krug Show is presented by Prize Picks. Thank you, Prize Picks. Thank you, of course, Pig in a Pickle. Also, thank you to Novato Chevrolet, family-owned for over 50 years, friendly staff to meet all of your expectations, huge selection, voted best car dealership by the community on Nextdoor app, also 2025 rated top car dealership by Carfax. Go see David. He is the top sales guy, and he will treat you like a king. And tell them that Krug sent you. Also, thank you to Alomar Marina. Visit their website, alomarmarina.net. They're at 5999 Garden Highway, open Wednesday through Sunday. Float while you eat on the Sacramento River. It's an awesome spot. Best kept secret in Sacramento. Check out their website, alomarmarina.net. Thank you to Alomar Marina. And also thank you to our good friends at Sharp Corner, Sports Cards and Collectibles. The great Anthony Catania is at 205 Cypress Avenue out in Pacific Grove, California on the Monterey Peninsula. Give him a call. He's at 831-521-5264. You can also contact with him via Instagram, Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. Free shipping. If you're a Krug Show fan, free shipping on anything that you order. Damon,
Are we making prize picks today? Are we going to be picking?
Yeah, we can do a prize picks lineup right here. We'll do it here.
I'll tell you what, I feel like we here. I'll get
let me get my prize picks thing up here, and we will do it. There
you go, Larry.
Okay, here we go. Got to log in. There we go. Logged in.
Get yourself some mores and lesses to consider.
Okay.
Are the Giants playing again today, or is it a day off for them? I was going to say,
take off.
Okay, then take.
By the way, join me tonight at 6:00 for Niners Nightly. I've got a really, really informed guest who's going to be stopping by. Actually, no, that guy couldn't make it. But Damon's going to, no, I'm just joking. Damon's going to be joining us tonight for Niners Nightly. So I'm really fired up about that. And we've been doing, Damon's back on KMBR, and we're doing more stuff, and we will be doing even more and more as the time goes on. But there we go.
Are you looking at futures again here, Lair? Oh my gosh.
Or actually, I'll let you have the choice. What, let me read the read, and then we'll get into whatever you want to get into. We can go NBA, we can go baseball. But all right, let's jump into our Prize Picks lineup for today. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app. And the reason I like it, it's simple. You just pick more or less on player stats or game outcomes, build your lineup, and you're in. No complicated stuff, just what you think is going to happen, period. Use code HMA, play $5, and get $50 in lineups instantly. Link is in the description. All right, let's get into it, and we have our board set up here, and we can go in any direction. I'll let you decide, Damon. What would you like? Would you rather go? NBA is done, right? For the regular season ended. We get playoffs in a couple days. We could go NBA if we wanted and take a look at that. We could go season on.
So I'm just leaning in here. I'm looking at some of these. Scroll up for me, Larry. Give me. I'm getting Matthew Stafford's number there is.
I mean, I can go on these, or we can go to baseball, basketball, or we can go Niners. Whatever you want. What do you want to?
Let's go with a. Let's just stick right here. Let's stick right here. You know what's
these are
really
futures NFL, future NFLs. So what do you got? Which one do you got? Myles Garrett 14 sacks. You got Puka Nacua 8 receiving touchdowns. You got JSN 1,325 receiving yards. You got a bunch of them here. Bijan, Stafford, Josh Allen. I'll take one right here. I think Derrick Henry is going to be hurt this year. He's older. They just got rid of Linderbaum. You're not going to run better, as you get older and you take away your awesome center. So I'm going to say that 1,300 rush yards or 1,299.5. I'm going less.
Let me go back. I thought I saw a Puka. Yeah. I thought I saw Puka Nakua's name up here.
Yeah, it's right
Puka
here.
Nacua. You know who's having a really rough offseason? Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
You know who I think is just a little bit too fame is not his best friend? Puka Nacua. 8 regular season touchdowns. Receiving.
Yeah.
Less, Larry. Give me less on Nacua.
I love that too. Here's why. There's a lot of talk the Rams are going to go after like a Mekhi Lemon or something. And they also have Devontae Adams. And they've got all those tight ends. And Puka's having problems off the field. I think that's a good one, Puka.
Give me less. There you go.
Less. So we got those two. Should we go for a third or a fourth here? And we also have we have Dak, we have Ashton Genty, Drake May, Bijan Robinson, Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Burrow. There's a Puka on receiving yards. Sam Darnold. I might go less on Sam Darnold. Think about it this way. I think Seattle's going to get themselves like a Jadarian Price, or maybe of Mike Washington. You know, Seattle's really interested in Mike Washington. I think Seattle gets themselves a back, and I think they wind up running it more this year. So I like Sam Darnold under that 36.75. So
I'd like I would go less on that, I think, as well. It's going to be tough for Sam to do it in back-to-back years. If you wanted to tie that directly into a less on Jackson Smith and Jigba, that would make a little sense to me. But now you're trying to hit a 4-legger, and good luck with that. Two is hard enough. 3 is tough enough.
How about this? How about more on 14 sacks from Myles Garrett? You know, there is rumor that Myles Garrett's going to be traded, and that there's people that believe that the Niners and the Eagles are the teams that have are the most likely to go after Myles Garrett. I can't imagine that. I don't think the Niners can afford that. I really don't. I think it's going to take 2 number 1s and a number 2, and at least, if not more, and probably a player. I don't think they could do it. But I like Garrett more than 14 sacks. So let's
it feels like penciling him. It feels like if that were 16, you'd still maybe go more.
Okay, so we're going to submit our lineup and see what it looks like. It takes 30 seconds, and here we go. Lineup successfully submitted.
Let's have a look at it, Larry.
Let's check it out. All right, so we got a 4-pick power play, $10 to win 100. Derrick Henry's got to have less than 1,299 rush yards. Puka Nacua's got to have 8 receiving touchdowns or less.
Yeah, we're just fading everybody not named Myles Garrett here. The only more we have is Myles Garrett.
Sam Darnold is not going to get to 36.75.5 pass yards, and Myles Garrett, he had 23 sacks last year. All he needs is 15 this year, and he's a winner, or we're winners.
Hey, come back 8.5 months from now to see how Larry did on that April 13th prize pick lineup.
Or more importantly, make your own. Join Prize
go.
Picks and make your own, and you'll be a huge fan. It's a great app. We're really big fans, and we'll be talking a lot about Prize Picks throughout the year. And we'll switch the screen.
There you go.
There.
Done.
Oops. There we go. Wrong screen. Go ahead.
There you go.
All right, so thanks to Prize Picks for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, let's hit our supers. We have 10 of them here, and we appreciate every single one of you guys. By the way, if everybody could take 30 seconds and just hit like, and that would just help the algorithm. If you hit like, more people find the overall stream and the algorithm, and if you hit subscribe and click on that notification bell, anytime I go live or Damon goes live on the Plus, you don't have to miss a minute. You'll get a little ding alert, and it costs nothing. It's free, but it definitely helps everybody out. So hit like, and we appreciate all you guys, and we'll be doing a lot of content really throughout the rest of the year and, of course, throughout the draft season. Jaimir says, I've never seen anybody ever offer $2.49. Have you?
No. I mean, that is.
I've seen a lot of $2.99, $19.99. There's a lot of 99
on that 49er theme. Thank you very much. It is my man, Yohir Johansson. He's one of them. He's one of them Jurgen Flurgen country guys.
Best afternoon show in Europe.
Thank you very much, Jurgen Flurgen, to everyone.
Good to see you guys live. Absolutely. Glad to be here. Buster Bradamus, which is a great name. Just because you put up with my shit. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Or good afternoon to everyone in Europe.
Too much sauce. Should good safety prospects be 200 plus pounds? Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we are talking about I mean, I'm in total lockstep with Damon on this one. I think Bud Clark might be one of the best, tightest covering safeties I've seen since like Merton Hanks, right? Like who was a converted corner. So this guy has got a corner build, but he is an unbelievable coverage safety. And if you said to me, what do the Niners need? They have Malik Mustafa. They have, Jair Brown. They need somebody who all their safeties are better in the box than they are down the field.
Hitters. They got their hitters. They need somebody to run.
They gotta have the coverage guy. Somebody's got to be able to play the deep third in the cover 3. Somebody's got to be able to cover the tight end down the seam, especially if it's Kenyon Sadiq and he's running fast. So Bud Clark would be a great call. I just think that Kilgore would be a better call because I think Kilgore is more like a Nicky Manwari. He's not a safety. He's kind of just a defensive piece. But I think I'd be interested to give Raheem Morris that piece and see how he uses it. We got this one. Oh, that was that one. We got this one. YT 143. Why is the mainstream media dead silent on Rossini Vrabel story when they are the first to speak on players' personal issues? Yeah, we should probably hit this. The internet is blowing up today because Vrabel is not going to speak before the Patriots or with Elliott Wolf at the Patriots pre-draft presser. I think it might be today or tomorrow, or maybe it's next week. And I guess he did last year, Damon. So
no, this is old. This is totally waiting out the news cycle. That's what this is.
Here's the only thing about this, and there's going to be lots of people that talk about this at some point. They're going to say, because Vrabel's going to get what? I mean, so there's rumor that Kraft scolded him, and there's rumor that Vrabel was like, "You've done worse." Did you see that? Did you see that Kraft said that that Vrabel embarrassed the organization, and Vrabel told Kraft, "You've done worse." And this is the reigning coach of the year. This is the coach of the year whose team went to the Super Bowl. But here's the thing: nothing's going to happen.
Mr. Kraft, I know vividly about the hand jobs you get in Florida. So those who live in glass houses.
Nothing's going to happen to Vrabel.
Nothing.
But she's cooked.
She's done.
And that is really I don't know, what would you
the mainstream media here has got two things going. Number one, I think a lot of people like Diana Rossini. Diana Rossini was pretty good at her job, and she seems like kind of a cool chick. She really has. That, like, Rossini always came off to me and was like, you know what? At the end of
that's what it's about. I think it's just about don't shit where you eat. Nobody wants to take on their.
There's a little of that too. There's a little of that too, but I also think that she was someone that everyone kind of liked, and everyone's pretty disappointed here. And it seems like she she dipped her pen in the company ink, and you can't do that whether you're a man or a woman these days. And in the world of journalism, have credibility when it's all said and done.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second. His job is about winning games and motivating football players. Has he lost his effectiveness because of this? And I would argue not one iota.
No.
Her job is to have credibility and provide and present stories and break stories based on her ability as a credible reporter in the field. Has her ability to do her job taken a hit? And the answer is unequivocally yes. Every single time there's any kind of a report going forward of, hey, the Patriots have interest in, player X by Diana Rossini.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be a gigantic one-line gag on every sports talk show host in America.
Finding good and successful NFL coaches is a hard task. Finding a girl to be the next female reporter at The Athletic, there's a much longer line of available talent for that. So Diana is about to be in a numbers game that does not favor her.
Someone's like, well, she could write her memoir and make a ton. Yeah, but I mean, come on.
Are you really that interested in the Diana Rossini story? I'm not even watching the Lifetime movie.
I'll read that after I read the Colin Kaepernick, breakdown. I'm going to get to those eventually.
I'm just going to say this. I said this last week on a video that I did about this situation, and I said she's in a lot of trouble unless she's got 31 poolside chats scheduled with the other NFL coaches 2 hours off property. If this is something that she's about to do with every coach in football, well, then it's all above board. If it's just Vrabel, why? And you're in trouble.
Buddy of mine called me and he's like, dude, I don't know what people are making such a big deal about. And I'm like, dude, shut up. I go, I mean, I'm a married man. If that were me, I'd be in trouble. Interlocking fingers and laying poolside and hugs and, while my wife's at home caring for our children and, doing the laundry, paying the bills, and I'm out at some fucking resort, getting lovey-dovey with,
So I asked this question aloud too when I was
interlocking fingers reveal so much.
So I was asking about the interlocking fingers picture, and I thought to myself, and I thought out loud, what woman could be in that picture with me that Jillian, when she saw me interlocking and staring into the eyes of another woman, would she not instantly see red with? And there was one answer, and it was Gianna. Gianna and I have enough of a friendship where the perfect camera snap, I guess, could be caught in the moment where it looked like we were in love. But outside of Gianna, any other woman in that pose, Jillian is calling a lawyer.
Which is the most incriminating picture? Because there were three pictures. Which one's the most? No, I'm just asking you. I don't.
Yeah, it's the interlocking fingers, man.
It's the interlocking fingers.
Look, the two of us conceptually could be by the pool
and float towards each other.
The two of us could be in a lounge chair together at a pool. The two of us could be looking somewhere. I don't know. That the interlocking fingers is bad. And here's another thing that the whole story that they tried to put forward was bullshit. Larry, let's say you and I.
There were other people there.
No, that's it. You and I, you are laying in the pool next to Kyle Shanahan. You're playing Tootsies with each other. I'm laying next to Kirk Signetti. My head is on his shoulder. And we say, no. It wasn't just us cozying up to coaches that we like and cover and all the lot. There were 9 other people there. Wouldn't you have your 9 other people being like, yeah, we were there. Here are the other picks from the weekend. This was not just about Damon and Signetti and Larry and Shanahan. There a whole bunch of us were there. How come not a single person that was supposed to be there has come forward with pictures to let everyone know this was a group project?
Or if you had somebody there who absolutely knew you were innocent of this, wouldn't they just come out and be like, hey, man, there ain't nothing going on here. Nobody wants to get anywhere close to this. And
what
these media people.
Interlocking fingers is like a handshake.
No, it's not.
You go ahead and you interlock with your boss. If you're a man and your boss is a man, tomorrow at work, go up with him and just interlock fingers and tell me that's a handshake.
We used to play this game called Mercy, where we would interlock fingers, and then you try to
hurt each other.
Try to hurt each other. And you just sit there and you guys like, oh.
By the way, yes. I see this is the next to get back to the supers. Steve Lewis says if Vrabel were a black head coach in the same extent that Vrabel and Rossini situation is, would the convo unfairly shift more towards the Patriots firing than a pushback on Rossini? I think we all know. Well, look, I don't want to bring race into it, but let me tell you what would have been the.
Why would you inject race into this? Why? Just for the hell of it? Let's just drive by and throw race into the mix. I mean, let's light up a M80 and just throw it in there. Let's turn this into a racial issue. What if it had been somebody from Iran? Oh my God!
Here's the. It's Iran to you.
Oh, sorry.
It's not a Flock of Seagull song.
Come after me, Ayatollah. I'm sorry.
Larry Fatwa. Here we go. But look, if she had been black, she'd already be gone. I'll give you that much. The coach is the coach, and he is the more protected person, no matter what amount of pigment he's in. But the criticism would be more for sure. We're not playing on the same level field. However, do you remember how everybody in the media came for that nice lady in Jacksonville for just giving Liam Cohen like a hold your head up, sweetie? And she was everybody came down her chimney as hard as possible.
So. I was
That's the
one of
thing.
those people. Come
Yeah.
on, bro. Be a pro.
Yeah, you don't
be
do
a
that.
pro
You're not
is be a
taking
pro.
risks,
She
people.
wasn't a pro. That was
No.
not professional. That was unprofessional.
But that was a 1,000 times less professional than I might be fucking the guy I'm covering.
I mean, more professional.
Yes, the question, the keep your
It
head
was
up
more
comment
professional.
is less of a fireable offense than
She didn't get fired.
banging
Did
my
she?
subject. No, she didn't.
No.
She
Yeah,
didn't.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but her thing was like a super fan thing, and heck, dude, you know me. I cover the Niners. I'm not that much different than her. I just don't do it at a press conference.
Right.
I'll walk up to dudes all the time in the locker room and be like, "Hey, man,
Private conversation.
yeah, hey, bro, I'm rooting for you. Hey, keep fighting the good fight." I'll say
Right.
things to guys. I've said to Alfred Collins, "Hey, man, keep your head up. I know it's
Tough one
hard
today.
Keep your-"
Chin up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have like personal conversations. Do the guys like it? They probably are like, get out of my face.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about what you think, but
mid-50 fat guy. I don't care. But no, but if you've cultivated a trust or some kind of a relationship with the guys, they look at that as humanity. As humanity, it's like, yeah, I don't have. I'm not recording and I'm not videoing. I'm just talking to you guy to guy. I'm like, hey, man, hey, there'll be better days, or hey, I thought you looked pretty good out there, or I'll say it to a guy, hey, man, I thought you had a hell of a game, and here's why, and they like it, or they respond. You can do that. She could have gone up to Liam Cohn and said, Coach, hey, there's a lot of people grinding on your gears. I get it, but keep your head up. Keep your head up. Hey, there's a lot of people out here that love you, believe in you, and are in your corner, Coach. Hey, that's it. And that's super fine and super cool. To
Right.
do it in a presser,
right.
it just comes. I don't know. It came across as unprofessional, but
It was
it's
too mu-
hardly a disaster.
It was way too mothering in a relationship where one is not to mother the other.
Right. But
All
we
right,
gave her. She was given kind of a wide berth because of her tone. I think more than anything, because her tone was genuine. She was being genuine. So yeah, and also, you know what, Tim? It was a slow news day. I mean, let's be honest. If this happens in a busy news day, it probably doesn't even get covered. In a slow news day, it's a filibuster. Okay, we got a couple more here.
Yeah.
David Esger, what will we find out if Martin is a player or a bust this year? Oh, how can we not? How can we not? I'll tell you what makes me the most nervous about the Martin thing is that it wasn't that he didn't play last year very much or that he got hurt. It was the way he seemed to not fit in the room. He walked around that room like an outsider. Nobody seemed to talk to him. There's something weird there. So that right there is odd to me. So since that has never been explained to me, I got to put a gigantic question mark around Nick Martin. I don't know that it's going to work out because the play, there's no doubt he's a good enough athlete. There's no doubt that the play is fine. It's about the fit. And he just seemed like he had no friends on the team. He seemed like he was a total outsider in
quiet guy, Larry, quiet guy, shy guy. Because sometimes, introverts don't seek a lot of new friends quickly. Maybe how about this? His sophomore year, his second year around the team needs to be different.
Oh, yeah. He's very, very talented. Bill Wanger says at this point, Rossini should really hope that Pam Bondi is her husband's divorce lawyer to get absolutely nothing done. Oh, let's not turn this into a political thing. Too much sauce. I watched Damon Bruce and Coach's Huddle game day live stream side by side in parallel because you are both so good. Any chance we'll see you both on a stream? I just did a stream with Coach on Saturday, and somebody, maybe it was Too Much Sauce, that actually threw this comment in on Saturday. And he was like, hey, I love the in-game stuff that Coach does, and I love the in-game stuff that Damon does. And he watches them side by side. I would imagine it's the same guy, or there might be two people that watch you guys side by side.
I didn't know that he did a live stream as well. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I like his stuff. I like his work. If we were ever to put it together, let's do it.
Yeah. You guys started doing that roughly around the same time. Fuji says, geez, The Athletic investigating Rossini, and I didn't know Vrabel is married. Which maybe holding hands with someone not your spouse is not a good look. What was really the bad look here, if you really want to talk about it, is The Athletic. The Athletic put out a commentary story on their site about this and had no quotes from Rossini, and she works for them. They had no quotes from her boss. He works for them. They had no quotes from Vrabel. I mean, talk about trying to do something and absolutely not doing it. You're trying to somehow cover a story that you're the central figure in, and you have access to the people, and you can't even get quotes from your own people. Why put that out?
It's the whole, this is under investigation, therefore no one's going on record at this particular time.
We got this one. Big Tone in the house. It says, you see the former 49er Josh Hockett fight this weekend in the UFC. One of the best fights I've seen. Third fight, and beat number 4 ranked heavyweight. You know what? I didn't see that. I did not see the UFC this weekend, but I'd like to go check that out. I'm not a
UFC guy at all. I'd rather watch a boxing match. I think the UFC, when the guys start grappling and just rolling around, it looks like two dudes trying to fart on each other's heads more than it looks like a compelling fight that I'd want to watch. I'm just not a big UFC guy. Never have been.
Boxing to me doesn't do it anymore. There's just not enough action. To me, the UFC is there's more action. But I agree with you. If it's the same old tomato cans and the same old guys, I don't need to see Gaethje. I don't need to see some of these guys these tomato cans have fought forever and they're just getting beaten up. But it is, as far as a guy's night, let's get together, get a keg, and hang out and you know, and watch something. Why not? And it was great during the pandemic, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's a little. I like boxing, but I like boxing in my memory. You know, not the boxing that I see now. I'll take UFC over boxing in the present. Fuji says Kraft got a sweetheart deal for being a rat and a snitch.
He gets the same. Get away with, you know, there's rules for us and there's rules for the billionaires, and he got the billionaire rule book thrown at him, which means you can get away with murder.
Yeah, rules for me, rules for thee. He's definitely in the upper crust. Riker Trav, like that name. He says, thank you, gents, for your honesty. We appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you're going to get out of Damon and I is honesty, which is why we've, you know, have done multiple gigs through life, because we're honest. Gabe says, Larry, what does Balky have to say about Rossini and Vrabel? It's a good one. You know, here's the thing. I said to Vrabes, first of all, I'm Trent Balky. I got to use everybody's fucking nickname. So I told Vrabes, hey, what you got going with Rossini over there? You know, I look at you as a guy who's, you know, I always thought of you as kind of a one-gap penetrator. And now here you are. You're more of a two-gap guy trying to kind of two-time. I don't respect that. I'll tell you that. I don't respect it. Good old Trent Balky would never do something like that. But I'll tell you, and I'll say it right now, I wrote a name down in an envelope, and it said on it, Mike Vrabel poolside. And I just busted it out just now, and I'm going to send it to The Athletic. Hey, man, I hope it helps you, bud. You know, I've got you. I've got you in this fight. You know, us football guys. You know, I'm a football guy, and you're a football guy. The one thing about Rossini, she's not a football guy, you know.
I'm just gonna say, you know, Rossini rhymes with linguine. You know, there's some Italian hot sauce that could be going on there, and you gotta, if you don't like an Italian spouse, just wait until you meet the boyfriend or the girlfriend. That's the way it's gonna go. You know, I understand this situation. I've been in this situation. I've had girls in the Miata that I've had a lot of affection for. I've had other girls in the Miata that I've had a lot of affection for. So, you know, I've never had a head coach in my Miata though. We've never gone to a pool together. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Diana Rossini, watch your linguine.
You know, I said to Vrabes, I said, you know, you're kind of like me, Vrabes. We're targets. We're attractive men with money in our pockets. And we're Renaissance men. We're conversant in many topics. Me, you, others, Sir Thomas More. There's very few of us. But we're Renaissance men. And that's why Rossini wants us. I think, you know, I'm all for you. And what can I say? Another Rossini will come along. Keep fighting. Good fight, Vrabes.
The draft can't come fast enough. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe, and that's it.
That's going to do it for us. Have a great rest of your day. If I can find the exit hatch, we're going to get out of here. And I have. Peace.